car.
We were awesome, bro! Awesome! Yes, dudes and dudettes, Major League Butt Kicking is back in town! Oh, yeah! Awesome! Righteous! Bossa Nova! Huh? Bossa Nova? Chevy Nova? Excellent! Come on, let's move it. I'm starving. Ooh, we're baby. Major pizza attack here, dudes. Pizza unneeded.
Hello, everyone. It is time for another episode of What's This? You're listening to the JLR Podcast Network with me, Johann, and with my, I guess, the guest that I've had the most. Could I call you a regular, Egill?
I think you can call me a regular.
Although it's been a while.
Yes, we
last time
went
we
on
did
a bit of a.
we did Star
That
Wars.
was before Christmas.
Yeah, quite
Or was
a while.
it during Christmas?
Well, then again, I've only done one episode after that, which was the last one I did with Gade about the film Parasite. That was another foreign feature film that we did, but not really a unfamous foreign feature film. It was an Oscar winner. And today, it is my turn to introduce a film to you. I'm doing the introduction again, and this time it's not a foreign film, it's an independent film, but just like Parasite was a pretty famous foreign film, this is a pretty famous independent film. I'm talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the film from 1990. You've obviously not seen this film because I'm introducing it to you, but what do you know of this film?
About the first one,
Yes.
when I think back, it's actually very little, but it's strange because I have seen the sequel, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Mystery of the Ooze, or whatever. The movie with Vanilla Ice, where he
Yes.
sings "Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go."
I do know that film very well. So it's funny. So you have no recollection, no memory of ever seeing the first one at any given point. It's just
No.
one of those films.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything I know about the first film is everything that they reference in the sequel.
I see.
So I guess there's a bit of a spoiler there, but I'm still interested in actually seeing it because I haven't watched it. So
This is gonna be very interesting because
also I'm very curious. You call it an indie film. Was it?
it is technically speaking, it's categorized as an independent film because it's not one of the big studios. Although it's New Line Cinema, that is, what is it? Not the production company, but I guess the one that distribute the film. I'm not sure. Anyways, they were categorized as it was categorized as an independent film back in the day. And I think
open up the internet thing and have it.
And the famous thing about this film is that it was the top grossing independent film for a long time, for like 9 years. And then, Blair Witch Project, was it Blair Witch? Yeah, it's Blair Witch Project came out and obviously completely topped that. And then there have been obviously more successful independent films after that, and obviously
Yeah.
they make more money today, so it's not comparable.
There's shows, there's comics, there's cartoons.
Yeah, there were the
Well, yeah,
80s
the cartoons were
yeah.
first, right?
Yeah, obviously,
The original cartoons, yeah.
Obviously, yeah. The cartoons were, those are these are obviously 80s characters as an age, based on everything. It's really 80s, even though it's 1990.
Yeah.
You can feel the 80s vibe of the film, although we have crawled into the 90s. But
Yeah.
so
I want to look forward to that because I did not watch the original cartoon. I watched the second version, the cartoon that came.
right.
I want to say like in early 2000s, which was
Yes.
a more sort of more like serialized, more like dramatic, but it was still funny. And I think because since then I've seen some of the older cartoons, and they sort of carry over like a lot of the characters and the charm of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is actually something that I want to just touch on briefly. I think many people have like pointed it out, but like we talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a matter of factly because like we've seen it of, but just if you say it out loud, Teenage
It's ridiculous.
Mutant, it's like it's the bizarrest premise.
Yeah. There, I was thinking that, like, I just rewatched the film again just to make sure that it is still this good film that I think it is, and it is in my mind. It is a pretty goddamn good film, I think. Well, maybe not. It's not like really, knock your, what's the expression? Knock your shoes off or something, or
It's not groundbreaking.
yeah. I go to phrases without even knowing what the hell I'm saying. But anyways, you get the idea. It's I think it's pretty good. I think there's something about it having been independent at the time that they allowed themselves to go a little dark, should I say? Because what happens, it's so funny that you mentioned the cartoons, right? So I've seen the original cartoons. They are really silly and campy at times. There's that one episode where Shredder, I don't know what happened. He knocked, like he got unconscious or something, hit his head on something, and he woke up and he thought he was Michelangelo.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's my favorite episode.
It's
I think we watched that
it's
particular
just
episode.
bonkers, that episode. It's ridiculous.
Like I think I've watched that episode like several times just because it's so funny to see like the actor who plays Shredder going like, "Hey, dude."
Yes, it's going all in. And but yeah, it's so funny that you mentioned the cartoons. I would think that you could the original cartoons, the 80s cartoons, are probably more relatable to the second film rather than the first one.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm looking up the information about the film, and one thing about is that the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was just a comic book that was pretty, like, it was sort of darker than what you would normally associate with with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, it was like this because there was a theme of like independent comic artists and who wanted to be like, I guess, edgy before edgy was a thing. And so, like, they're ninjas and they're like fighting, and there's violence, there's blood and stuff like that, because it's like a comic book and it's like something known as. So like the origin of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is actually sort of more adult oriented rather than like kid focused.
That is interesting. So what might have happened then is the guys who were behind the original film wanted to maybe get off this vibe that, well, I mean, it's not completely separated from the cartoon, like the vibe from the cartoons. You still have really good banter, especially between Donatello and Michelangelo. Actually, I was surprised. I remember Michelangelo. I remember Michelangelo being really goofy and funny. I kind of forgot how funny Donatello actually is in the film. And there's a lot of these old. Now that I'm older, there's a lot of these quotes and these jokes that he makes that I finally get that I would have not had any idea about when I was younger. And a lot of culture references, and at the they're referring to Rocky, Mike Tyson, and stuff like that. It's just like you can tell when it's been made.
Yeah, it's got a lot of those. It's got pop culture references.
Yeah. And just, I mean, okay, you saw the second film. Did you see the third film?
I did see the third film, which, like, when I was a kid, that was like fun because it's like, oh, it's just silly adventure, whatever. But like, as you think about it, it doesn't. Like, when I think about it, it doesn't have as many. I think I prefer the second film, of course, of the ones that I've seen.
Do you still like the third film in any way, or?
Well, the thing about me is that I have an appreciation for trash.
Okay. So you like it as trash.
Well, yeah. So like maybe as a kid, I was like, oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and in feudal Japan or whatever. It's like, oh, this is cool. And now when I'm watching it, I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
it was just ridiculous. But I would not want you to like this film as trash. That would be, I would think, then I would consider this a failure. I would want you to watch this film and actually like it. Yeah, this is actually a really fun, entertaining film. I'm actually hoping that you might not end up liking it as much as you like Big Trouble in Little China, but somewhere in that area, that kind of a mood, that kind of a feeling.
So it has that sort of, because when you think like what's his name? The guy who directed the thing, John Carpenter.
John Carpenter.
He has always been a sort of an outlier of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And also like the fact that his movies mostly like never actually were like successful financially. Like they all became cult hits and became way popular later. So like he sort of like gave up on doing like the big Hollywood thing and just kept. Are you saying it's sort of that? Because I'm looking at like the production company.
Yeah.
So it's distributed by New Line Cinema.
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
the distributor.
The production companies. It's like I've never heard of. Like maybe the closest is like Limelight, which like the only other movie that I've heard about that they made is Coneheads.
Coneheads.
But like they've been making movies like like they made a movie in 2019 called Supervised, and like these are just like I've never heard of anything. So they've like obviously the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle brand has moved to different companies, but
sure,
the original guys have still remained like independent and
they definitely benefited from that first original film. That, like I said, top grossing independent film back in the day for like 9 years. So that probably kept this independent studio up for all this time to make more movies. And obviously, Coneheads,
I guess this is a weird thing.
Coneheads is not that. I mean, it's pretty famous. It's not not that good, but it's pretty famous, right?
But I'm thinking of like it's interesting that because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles became such a phenomenon that it's so weird to think of it as it started as a like this independent
there's something like I do wonder what on earth the story is about that. If just like there was a script that nobody liked at the big studios and then they said, oh, we'll do it for a lower budget, but still they were able to get some famous people to help. And I mean the puppets, I'm pretty sure Jim Henson is helping out there with those. And
I'm just gonna
but I mean I mean obviously during that period Corey Feldman was pretty damn popular. and he's the voice for Donatello.
I see. So I'm just looking up.
Mm.
So for the second movie,
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze,
Yes.
then New Line Cinema had stepped in to produce the film.
Right. And you can see that film is 1 year later. They just immediately saw this is a hit, make a sequel now. And that might
they
explain.
clearly saw, yeah. Something
Which
like
will,
that.
and that is probably the reason why it's so different from the first one. It's much more campier. All the characters, even the bad ones, are too silly. Here are the major things that I take from the first film, and it will be interesting to see if you will agree with me. Shredder is terrifying. I actually watched this with my daughter, and
That's actually
she was scared. He's menacing. His introduction is kind of menacing. Like there's this thing. The soundtrack is also peculiarly good. Like both the action fun soundtrack that's really catchy that I remember. That's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie theme, right? But then there's these more serious scenes there, and there is actually really good writing sometimes, especially when it comes to Splinter. He comes off so wise in this film. It's like I'm thinking about like other superhero films or just action films, with with these kind of ridiculous themes. Like I've never really remembered that kind of a wise man before. There probably is.
It's a classic. Yeah. The old wise man is, of course,
But
the
here
classical.
is one thing that I took from the film as well. Of everything else you've seen, did Splinter refer to himself as their father? Or like, did he refer to him? Did he come off more as like a master?
So if I remember, like in any of the other stuff,
Yeah.
it's been so long since I've seen any of it.
Yeah.
But thinking back on it, I think he may have I don't think he may have referred to. I think they always referred to him as Master Splinter, but they have always referred to him as like an adopted father or a father figure,
yes.
but never actually called him their father because
in this film,
they always know. Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure for like when I'm going back thinking about the cartoons and the other two films, although I haven't seen I saw the second film maybe 10 years ago, and that had been a while since I'd seen it before then, and I remember watching that film, this is pretty bad compared to the first one. But there's a lot of talk about importance of being a father and caring for their sons, and I get this really weird vibe. It wasn't this master-student relationship. He really looks at him as their sons. It's much more of a family thing going on.
interesting.
And actually, it's really there are really touching moments in this film. I'm like, well, you wouldn't have. I think because it's an independent film, they allowed themselves to actually go from the silly jokes, silly banters over to really kind of sentimental things and serious things. So
there's one thing, because you said I don't remember if we talked about this before on the podcast, but you mentioned that you watched this film with your daughter.
Yeah.
Is she what, 7? Is she 8?
Yes.
Wait, 7. She's 7 years old.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, what's your policy on showing her, like, so she got scared by it, but did she like the movie?
Yeah, she pretty much liked the movie, but like there were scenes where Shredder was pretty intimidating. I will not spoil anything, but she got startled and just re- I really want you to pay attention how they introduce him in the film.
All right.
The scene, the soundtrack, it's just, it's kind of unsettling what's happening. Especially, I think when I think about my younger self, maybe around the same age as my daughter now, watching that film, because it's 1990. I'm 3 years old then, but I remember seeing it again and again and again and again when I was like 5 or 6, 7, around that area, around that age, yeah. Maybe, around 92, 93, 94, somewhere there. And, I'm pretty sure, I thought Shredder was pretty, he was pretty menacing, which is why it's so sad what happens in the second film. He just he becomes, too campy. There's that thing. They're babies. It's just like, you just ruined him. You've ruined Shredder.
Well, he was very good in the cartoon series that I watched.
Like the second one,
yeah. There they kept him as a very intimidating.
I would think
figure.
that second version probably was influenced by the first film, the original film. I'm completely guessing, but I mean, if you want to make a good Shredder, I would definitely recommend what they did in this film. Right. It came up. There might be some disappointing scenes, but we'll find out. I'm
very aware of like when I watch old movies or older movies. I'm very like I understand like the times they were made in, and I can definitely I can't put myself in the mindset of like this came out this year, and so like the standards of the time and stuff like that.
If you can't do that, I actually think you will be surprised by the quality compared to the time, I suppose. And and just like the script, the soundtrack, and some of the character development. Just see if you agree with me, if you think it's good or not. But we'll find out. Okay. Yes. There's no any other questions. Or
no, not about the movie specifically. No. It's more about just like your like policy for like showing R-rated movies or like potentially like movies to your kid.
My daughter's seen The Terminator.
She has seen The Terminator.
Yeah, I'm a bad father, so what?
Well, okay, so when you think about that, like, but I remember watching Predator with my dad when I was 9.
Okay. So, hey, that's just...
And like not like accidentally, it's like my dad was like, "Oh, let's watch a movie together," because he loves Predator. And it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger at his most Schwarzenegger.
It's a pretty damn good film.
Yeah, and so like my dad was like, "I'll be fine."
Yeah. Well, I think we'll see if you will like this one or not. I think you will like it. I would be surprised if you, although you never know. We're on a streak of someone liking the film that the person introduces that also likes it, and vice versa. There was only that one time when someone introduced a film that he disliked, that was Smarty with the Rise of Skywalker, and we pretty much hated that film. But we'll see if you will like this one or not. Anyways, you know what's coming.
Yep.
Is it
ultimate
pause.
Pause.
Ready? Pause.
How can a face so young wear so many burdens?
So, you can talk.
Yes, and I can also listen. Some say that the path from inner turmoil begins with a friendly ear. My ear is open if you care to use it.
No, I don't think so.
What is your name?
Danny.
And have you no one to go to, Danny? No parent?
My dad could care less about me.
I don't. That is true.
Why?
All fathers care for their sons.
All right, we are back. Egill has just finished watching the film, and it is time for a post-view spoiler-free talk. But before we do that, same as usual, spoiler alert, sound the alarm, bring, bring, bring. If you do not want us to spoil this film for you, then I recommend you would pause this podcast, go watch the film, and then go back to the podcast and listen to our spoiler-tastic, spoiler-free talk. No, wait, spoiler-free is without spoilers.
Yes.
What am I talking about? Spoiler-filled. It's full with spoilers, yes. Spoiler-filled talk. But, yes.
Spoiler-filled talk for this 31-year-old movie.
Yes. Well, you know, I mean, I was chastised once about spoiling. What was it again? There was a film on the national. Yeah, it was the Will Smith film based on a true story about the guy who was Pursuit of Happiness, almost dead broke.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
he was able to get that job in the end. And it was being shown on the government television, basically, channel, which everyone can see for free. And the moment when that film ended, I wrote something on Facebook. Oh, it's such a great feeling when he finally gets the job in the end. And then someone writes, "Oh, thanks for spoiling the film." It's like, it's just on the fucking channel. And like I said, it's based on a true story, and you know what happened. He actually became successful. Never mind. Enough about
spoilers.
that. Well, actually, one more thing. I usually I listen to our pre-chat before we do the post-chat. I'll acknowledge what I've noticed. Recently, I've noticed that I say the word obviously often, but I went completely over the line this time around. I said it way too much. I think in the span of 30 seconds, I think I said obviously 50, 60 times or something. It was, I'm going to try to stop saying that, because if it's annoying me, it must be annoying others. But anyways.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, well, okay, then maybe it doesn't even matter. All right. Egill, you've seen the film. First take, hot take, first reaction. What is it?
I liked it.
Oh, yes. I would have been surprised if you would have been like, it's not that really remarkable. But you like it. Why do you like it? It's kind of a simple question.
So it definitely falls into... I can definitely see how people who would watch it today, it would be easy to dismiss it because it is older. But I can put myself in that mindset of this is from the 90s, 80s?
1990. We've just
on that...
reached the 80s, 90s, basically. Yeah.
And so I can appreciate the film. I would say that it's really charming and fun. I think I said it to Smaure said it was really cheesy, and I made the joke because of the pizza.
Actually, you watched the film with Smaure.
Oh yes, we both watched it last night. We just chilling, watching an old movie, and he said that it was cheesy in a good way, and I think that it's fun and charming. And I think that this is a type of movie that if I was 8 years old, if I was 10 or something like that, I would love this movie. Because it is so much fun. I really, whenever they the movie started and you get that whole scene of the city, they're talking about crimes and all that, and then the kids are stealing, or trying to rob April O'Neil, the reporter, and then the scythe, it gets thrown into the light and it goes dark, and you hear all the sound effects and everything like that. and then you go into the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the characters, and like I just started laughing because they're going like bodacious, radical, and like I don't know, like some people might be like, "Oh, this is stupid," but I was like, "Yeah."
Well, okay. So, I mean, if you're a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you'll love
Yeah,
it
yeah.
that they actually behave that way. But that's the thing. They do behave that way, like they
Yeah.
kind of did in the cartoons. But it's not only that you get from them. You
No,
get,
exactly.
for example, Raphael starts out as a loner and is kind of troubled.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously he lost his sight, and then he's kind
he's-
of dealing with anger issues, like, and
Yes, yes.
don't
And
think-
there's a lot of scenes where there's a lot of, as you mentioned, there's a lot of like really touching scenes, particularly with Splinter,
yes,
and like scenes where they were like where they cry, like where they're like tearing up, like the characters are
yeah, the
tearing up.
puppets are like, yeah, they're actually crying, yeah,
Yeah, and like good, fantastic puppet work,
Yeah.
and like the costumes. I still don't know exactly how they like if it's a mixture, if it's just a pure costume, or if it's a mixture of a costume and some makeup prosthetics, because like they're moving really fast and doing flips and everything in these what I would imagine are heavy costumes, but it's really well done. There's a few scenes where like where they like where they show it, then they cut away and they cut back to the ninja thing, which I can appreciate that, because it's like it's you know what it is. It's the same that we talked about with the Mad Adventures of Rabbi Jacob.
yeah.
It's a sort of a cartoon logic in a not cartoon movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the cartoon lot. If we're talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so you're gonna
Yeah,
have to
of
face up
course.
with some cartoon logic. I just
Yeah,
love the
yeah.
fact you have that, but you also have a really interesting storyline with really interesting characters, and you actually like you mentioned Splinter. I think, like I said, I'm surprised how like wise he is in the film. I mean, he's supposed to be the wise guy. I know that. Like, but he comes off like, compared to what the subject is, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and
Yeah.
and the way the cartoons were back in the day. Like, this really sentimental and trustworthy. The way he was able to bond this trust, for example, later on we'll talk about when he's captured by the Foot
Clan.
the Foot Clan, Shredder's clan. By the way, so that's the one thing I wanted you to notice when you were watching the film, because I talked about how I felt like they completely went campy in the second film, which is wasn't independent anymore. It was now under
New Line Cinema.
New Line Cinema, and 1 year later, basically, after the original one. And like I said, too campy, and Shredder became just ridiculous, right? There's that scene, they're babies, and, I thought, okay, he's so uncool now. But if you could erase that out of your memory, you would only have the first film. What did you think of, like, how they brought him into the scene with the gong and everything, and how they revealed his
And also, like,
Yeah.
when you see him in the shadow, he's
Yeah.
got the deep voice and everything like that. He and the way he was talking. So, like, what they are doing, the Foot Clan, they are recruiting delinquent kids, essentially off the streets, and they're like, which I thought was like. Was kind of funny is when they're showing like the hideout, and it's like arcade machines and billiard, and they're gambling and they're smoking.
It's
and,
funny. It's
and
kind of
there's,
like you get
the
that
skateboard.
yeah. It's funny. It's like the place in Pinocchio. What was the name of the island?
Oh, I think it was just called Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island, right? Yeah. It's kind of, you get that vibe from it.
Yeah,
the
and
way
it is
that they're
and
treated.
it is
Yeah.
actually it was actually a joke that me and that Smarter was talking about is like how do where do all these where do these evil organizations get all their henchmen?
Yeah.
And like they actually show it's like
Mm.
they're offering these like delinquents
Yeah.
a bunch of like hedonism thing, and then like he goes when has his speech about
Mm.
you have no family out in the world, we are your family. Like that is cult talk. That is
Yeah.
like cult leader stuff. So that actually made it make some sense of how like they were recruiting these boys to become ninjas.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh by the way, every time like they appeared on screen, my mind was just going ninja.
But then I thought that was also a very important part of the film, that he is talking about family.
Yes, exactly.
But from Shredder's point of view, it's much more of a cult thing, and he is it's also, what is the expression? He's a wolf under sheep's clothing. Like it's not. It's
wolf
not a
in
real
sheep-
family.
yeah,
Yeah,
wolf in
yeah,
sheep,
it's not
yeah.
a real family, and there's something more menacing behind it, right? But then at the other end, then you have Splinter, who really actually talks about the importance of family. Like he is actually the opposite of like an actual, like talking about having an actual family and having an actual bond with with his sons. And that's what I got. I like the thing that I noticed about this film. Like it really isn't this master student relationship that you have in all these Asian
he's definitely
Asian
he's trying,
fighting films, Karate Kid or whatever. No, he really is just talking about them as their sons. And he looks at him as their father much more than a master or anything. But he obviously taught them everything. But yeah, and then
and it's also the scene of so I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Okay.
Raphael goes out in a trench coat and a hat. And that's sort of like, if you want to be nitpicky, it's like, how can no one see through his disguise? I was just like, that's funny. So
yeah, they didn't really.
Because it's like movie speak. It's like this character has a hat and a trench coat on, therefore it's a disguise.
Well, I mean,
whatever.
for you. I mean, we've been talking about doing Batman versus Superman. I mean,
oh yeah.
Clark Kent,
Oh yeah.
Glasses.
Of course.
The glasses is the only thing.
Every version of Superman is like no one seeing this?
Very questionable. Very questionable. But we'll have accept the premise. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Raphael goes out.
Yeah.
He meets Casey Jones.
Yes. By the way,
as a part of the crime wave thing, there's apparently also like vigilantes, which is like one of them is Casey Jones.
Casey Jones.
And they have like a back and forth joke thing whilst they fight with it was like baseball bats and
what was this when he took out the cricket bat? He said, "You need to know what a crumpet is before you can know how to play cricket."
Yeah, something like that. There's a lot of fun sort of 80s speak, as they like with all the like dude and
I love some of the jokes.
Yeah, and Michelangelo is always when they're watching the news, watching April O'Neil. He's like, "Oh, what a babe!" And it's really fun and funny. And so because the characters are having fun, like that, at least for me, that it translates like I like these characters. They're enjoyable.
They're definitely likable.
Yeah, and so
I mean, back in the day, everyone had their favorite turtle.
Yeah,
because they were all, in a way, they were all different. You like I said, Raphael was that loner dealing with anger issues. Leonardo can fool around, but then he actually is kind of the responsible leader of them.
Especially like
Yeah.
in that scene, like where he's watching over Raphael.
Yeah, after he got hurt, which happens later in the film, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I did it again, obviously. Never mind. I will not notice when I say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
so Raphael goes out. April
By the way,
O'Neil
the
is
actor who
talking-
plays Casey, his name Casey Jones, right?
Yeah.
I know he's not an American. He's from, I think, Canada, but he has like Greek parents or something. But I've seen him in a couple of films before, and I've always thought he's that actor who looks like a young Robert De Niro.
Elias Koteas.
Yeah. Yes. And well, you know, I thought it was, but he was a pretty good. I thought he was pretty good as Casey Jones in the film.
Mm-hmm.
He was good for the part. But yeah, so you were saying.
Yes. So Raphael goes out. April O'Neil is covering the crime wave that's happening, and she is talking about the Foot Clan, and she's trying to talk to the chief of police. And it's a really 80s or like an old movie. Chief of police is like, he's like, oh, you know, full of air.
Yeah, don't you?
Everything
Are
is-
you telling me how to do my job? It's that thing, yeah.
It's the
yeah.
character that goes.
I got I got the mayor breathing down my neck.
Down
all
my
that,
neck.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But she talks about the Foot Clan. Then what? Like she gets attacked by the Foot Clan ninjas.
There's a
which-
joke that she made, which I just
Oh.
laughed off, and I thought nothing about it. Then maybe 2 minutes later, I thought, I honestly wonder if, like, I have no problem with the joke, but I do wonder in today's society if anyone would have picked that up and said that's, you know, insensitive or racist. Like, so this
I don't
they
know.
were-
That's
it's a ninja
that's
speaking
looking
with
for-
an
that's
Asian accent.
looking-
Yeah, but that's the thing. People are looking for everything these days. But yeah,
Yeah,
speaking
but,
with an
but
Asian
I don't do
accent,
that.
trying to threaten her, and she said, "What? I didn't pay my Sony bills because Sony is from Japan." It's like, I don't know, but
I thought it was.
yeah, I thought it was very innocent. But then I thought, well, what about today's people? Would they think?
No, I
it's
thought it was
innocent or
because
not?
of the tech stuff, because they were stealing like radios and stuff like. Oh well, but anyways.
Well, or
uh,
that, you know.
So Raphael is out when that happens, and Raphael rescues her.
Mhm.
But she gets knocked out in the attack.
Yes.
And Raphael takes her back to their hideout.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the Foot Clan ninjas follows
Yeah.
him.
Follows,
And-
notice where their
and
hideout
then-
is, and that's why
Yes.
Splinter gets
Kidnapped.
kidnapped,
Yeah.
which sets
And
off
then-
a lot of things in motion, obviously. Yeah.
Yes. And of course, like when they get back, and Raphael is really distraught. He's really upset. And
And then, you know,
then they go to April's house to
Yeah.
like to ask if they can stay there.
yeah. But then obviously, then they get the ambush there because the
Yes.
kid that was her boss's son
Yes.
had noticed a turtle there when, you know,
Yeah.
Shredder said, "These turtles." So when he
Yes,
said
yes.
that, it sounds, you know, saying that sounds stupid, but the way he presented it, it was actually, okay, cool and serious, I thought. It was nothing like, they're
I think-
babies.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was both serious and silly. But like at that point, I'm like
You're in the mood, yeah.
I'm in the movie,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm not like I'm not. Yeah, it makes sense in the context of the movie, but like,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
if you just take it outside, it's like that's a weird thing to say for a bad guy.
Yeah.
And talking about that kid,
Mm.
and talking about like the theme of family and fatherhood,
Hmm.
that kid talks to Splinter while he's captured, and Splinter sort of talks to him about his real family, and he has that line which I really liked, which is that all fathers care about their sons, or all fathers love their sons,
Yeah.
which is
Well, he was actually referring to
it-
himself, I suppose.
and it's a difficult sort of it's a difficult thing to sort of process because like in the real world, that's a difficult thing. But I think like that's a correct thing to say.
Before that, he actually also said that really it was a really smart way how he approached him. Like he's also a listener. You have my ear.
Yes,
Like,
you have my ear.
Yeah. So very open-minded to hearing his story and hearing his side. So kind of like a psychiatrist, I suppose. But but yeah, really wise all the time, and seems to know what to say.
Yes. Speaking of that, I thought it was kind of funny how. So when April Neil first sees the turtle, she like freaks out.
Yeah.
And then like there's very little, like everyone seems to, when they see like Splinter or the turtles, they're just like all right, whatever. But except when Casey Jones goes to rescue, infiltrates the hideout and like sees Splinter, he just like pauses for a moment, and then it's just like, oh well.
Oh well. Well, I mean, I'm guessing
I thought
he
was
heard
pretty
about
fun.
him from them and from April. I'm guessing they
Well,
talked about
yeah.
it, but then he finally
But
saw it. It's a big rat,
I
and then okay, well, yeah.
I just like that it was like that moment where he was like, all right.
But can we? Okay, so I want to talk about the scene that maybe that there was that really. It was really only one scene that I thought didn't make sense, which is weird to say in a film that's about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, but what happened? Obviously, they got ambushed at April's place. That place burned down, so they had to go hiding somewhere in the countryside. And during that period, Leonardo was trying to meditate, right?
Oh yeah.
And then they got the other guys to meditate with him. And they gathered around a fireplace, and they were able to hear well, they closed their eyes, and the flame became blue, and like a
which
they
was
could
I thought was a
hear-
really cool effect.
It's a cool effect, but I
Yeah.
thought this scene doesn't really make sense while he's still alive.
I'm wondering
'Cause
like that
I thought
scene
when I saw that scene,
for
like
me,
that scene would have been much more powerful if something like if he had actually been killed or something.
like maybe,
Yeah.
but that scene
Yeah.
for me was basically them just internalizing his lessons.
Yeah, because they never opened their eyes. By the way.
Well, yeah, they
Yeah,
never opened their
yeah.
eyes, and it doesn't, because it's just the film's way of showing the audience like how they are sort of learning the lessons that he has been teaching them. But
Yeah.
like
There's nothing really wrong. Like what he says, he's so caring about them, and like obviously complimenting them for finally
yes.
passing the ultimate test about
Yes.
knowing the true strength is not your body but your mind.
Yes.
And
you put your minds together.
yeah, and when you put your minds together, which was basically he's kind of talking to Raphael again there, because he also had heart-to-heart talk with him earlier in the film. But actually, I remember that. I thought that was pretty cool how he came up to him, they were talking, and then he starts crying in the middle of the scene. Like how they I wonder how they did that actually. But I thought that was also pretty well done. But yeah, I felt this could have probably been more stronger scene if it would have been something like he's no longer with them, but they were able to channel him through meditation or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm stuck on maybe my idea of
because you're thinking about Force Ghost.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe
because he is
someone who's still alive, but they're still able to force see his spirit or something.
Yeah, because I don't think they're actually communicating. I think it's just a
it's
feeling.
Just their feelings and meditate. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so. But I mean,
At
it's a
least
really
that's how I felt about that scene, and it
Alright.
looks cool. I really like
yeah, it
the
definitely
look.
looks cool. It's a
And it's
really
one
good
of the
scene.
things where I noticed, like, I actually made like a mental note of like, I'm really invested in this scene,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm watching four Ninja Turtles
Mm-hmm.
uh, listening to a fire mental projection of a rat man. You know, it's one of those moments where like, man, they really did this well because
Mm.
this does not feel like out of place or
Yeah.
weird at all. Like I'm just in there.
I do wonder because I already know I've already accepted the characters because I already like them. You know, they're already famous, and
Mhm.
but I do wonder, would I also have accepted the premise without knowing what it was before? Because of
Did
the
you
message of the film, because of what they are saying, and I tend to lean there. I think I would have, let's say it's this four teenage mutant pigs or something, and there's a cat who adopted them or something. I don't know, but
well, I have a question
yeah.
because so the cartoons, the original cartoons came
Hmm.
before the movie, right?
Oh yeah.
And you watched
But
the cartoons before that,
some of them,
for the movie.
yeah, it's a really
And
small
you
memory.
recently
Yeah.
you watched this movie with your daughter,
Yes.
and what did she think? Because she hasn't watched the cartoon, has she?
No, but see, I mean, it was funny. I did tell her we're gonna watch a film about four turtles and a rat,
Mm-hmm.
and she was kind of like, "Wait, what?" And then we watched the film, and then first she looked at him and thought it was like four frogs, and I was like, "No, they're turtles."
Hmm.
And then as the movie went on, she just watched, and like I said, the biggest reactions were all the scenes with Shredder. Especially, there's that scene Shredder when they escape. Shredder gets mad. He runs up to Splinter and hits him in the face, and just says, "What are those freaks?" or whatever. And she was really startled by that scene because I think it's something to do with the yeah, he's always kind of you would think he's gonna cut someone soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's never
Especially,
gonna. He
with
just has it
with
like
his blade.
next to his face or something like.
Yeah.
Well, it's
That's like
intimidating.
a threatening, a very
Yeah,
intimidating.
he's
and
very
threatening.
threatening. Yeah, like I said, it's probably uneasy for a kid to see that. You know, I can only imagine.
And then of course, like we have the scene where where they are explaining to April O'Neil, like, that they found the radioactive ooze,
Oh yeah, that
and you
was
get
obviously before. Yeah.
and you get that small scene of like
Mm.
them turning into humanoid
Yeah.
turtles, and he says pizza.
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 Do you mind that he didn't really go into explaining their names? Just
No, it's all right.
because it's
Like,
common knowledge, right?
well, at this point it is,
Yeah.
but also it's like with like, I think like they explain it in the cartoons and stuff like that, or like whatever. But if their names are their names are
Italian.
it would be like an
yeah.
Easter egg for the people who know. It's like if you know like Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo,
Yeah.
and Raphael, then that's like oh, that's an interesting factor. But it's not important of why he chose those names. Like at least not for this. It's not important for this movie, but it's just an interesting factoid.
Yeah. But you know, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's. It wasn't really necessary. I mean, the actual backstory. I mean, it's a little bit different from the cartoons. Like Splinter was actually a person.
Oh yeah, and then he got
before he became a
turned
rat.
into-
Yeah. While in this film,
Actually, in the more recent cartoon version, like that backstory is much closer to this movie,
Oh, I see.
or like the where Splinter was the pet of a master who was then killed by Orokusaki,
Orokusaki,
aka
yeah.
the
The same
Shredder.
name. Yeah.
Yeah.
The name
And
of- yeah.
and yeah, we mentioned. I think I mentioned it last time. Is that the newer version of the cartoon is much closer in mood to this movie, where like you have the backstories and you have a much more like threatening and intimidating Shredder.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can connect the second film more to the original cartoons, which is what I think happened. The studio said, "All right, this is a really good film, but this has to be more campy. Like we have to connect it more to with the kids or something." I mean,
which was like that is what was so popular at the time. I imagine.
I mean, honestly, this happens all the time. Joel Schumacher is known for creating the worst superhero film ever, Batman and Robin. But I think most people don't know that he was actually kind of forced into making campy films after they really didn't like what Tim Burton was doing. Batman Returns was way too dark in their opinion. The studios.
And the thing about like Joel Schumacher is that people make fun of him for making the Batman and Robin, but he also made Falling Down.
He's made really great
movies.
films. Yeah, it's really funny. He's made really good films, and that's the one that's stuck to his name. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was ridiculous. A Batman card, and I mean,
I think like there's actually behind the scenes. Since we're talking about it, there's behind the scenes things of where like he is talking about like making the film, and the studio talks about like toyification.
Yeah,
like he's actually getting notes from the studio of like think about merchandise and think about toys and stuff like that.
I'm guessing that's what happened with the second film, with the second Turtles film as well. It's probably making sure it has characters that they could definitely sell more merchandise that way.
I mean, fucking toys are like it's just a big fucking industry.
It really
There's
is.
a lot of moolah.
Yeah,
right.
And George Lucas, he
exactly.
for some reason he had the rights to make toys and all of that stuff. And once that happened, that's when Return of the Jedi became, the Wookiee thing, or the Ewok thing in the end of that, and all the prequels became what they became,
Yeah.
So, but back to the film. Yes,
I want to talk about the ending.
Yes,
Shredder gets rescued by Casey Jones and the kid who changes his.
Wait. What did you say?
Casey Jones and the kid?
No. Before that, Shredder gets saved.
Oh no! Oh, sorry.
Splinter. Right? Yeah.
Gets saved.
Yeah. No. I wanted to talk about the really dark thing in the film.
Oh,
Casey Jones. If you hadn't seen the second film, let's just say the second film doesn't exist.
Oh yes, the ending.
This is a really dark ending. Casey Jones kills Shredder.
Yeah, and not in a nice way.
Not at all. He's like,
falls
oops,
off a building.
Yes.
Into a garbage truck.
Yeah.
And then Casey Jones crushes.
Yes. And he said, oops, and he's just crushed, and yay, that's it. And like, wait a second, that's pretty brutal. It's just like
I really like that.
Yeah.
Because then it just goes into like because I was watching it with Smári, and I was just like, that's how you end the fucking movie. You put your bad guy in a garbage truck.
And then how on earth did he survive it? Like,
I'm not thinking about that at that point.
Well, that's not this film's fault. That's the second film.
No, obviously not. But I love how it like ends on them going like bodacious and radical, and then of course Splinter says "Cowabunga."
Yeah. And then he said, "I made a funny," like he said, like a child would say, "I made duty" or something.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's and like like at that point, me and Schmouder are just looking at each other, going, "Yeah."
But because you've been so invested, you're completely into it, right?
Yeah, and
It's not like, remember, we watched Rise of Skywalker, and at the end she said, "I'm Rey Skywalker." Like, if we were really invested in her and what had happened in that film, maybe we would have had a moment there. But instead,
well,
it was
yeah,
like,
because it's
shut up.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the movie.
Yeah.
It's a good example of how like a movie can take you for a ride.
Yes.
And if it does things well, then you can allow a movie to like, take you to enjoy things that you might otherwise be like, "Oh, this is dumb." But like, yeah, when the movie was ending, like we were like fully on board, going like, "Yeah, totally."
Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess you could have instead you could have. If it would have been a terrible film, and then he would be in the end saying "Cowabunga" like that, you would have just been like, "Oh, will you just shut the fuck up?" or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because Splinter, I think he's probably my favorite character in the film. He comes off so like good-hearted, wise. Like, it's just something really nice about him, and I thought I would like to see more characters like him in films. The way he's presented, but then again, he's a big rat. But yeah.
And amazing prosthetics and puppet work.
And like I said, nice soundtrack, and
A lot of like 80s sort of power rock.
I think there's nice cinematography, especially there's funny how there's that cool thing, she's drawing them, and then they go to the scene of the drawing. With Donatello
I like
in the
scene.
car.
I like the scene where they order pizza. And then the guy is in like, they're like, "Down here," and he like has to put the pizza box in the sewer.
By the way, do you know who the most famous actor in that film is?
I actually have the IMDb open here, and I'm looking. Are you talking about Corey Feldman?
No, so at the time it's Corey Feldman as the voice of Donatello, which, by the way, I loved him as Donatello. It's a Kodak moment, and like he had really good lines. But there's a young man in that film who has a pretty small role, but he's by far the most famous actor today. He's the one. He is not a leader, but he's introducing the kids to the.
Oh, you're talking about Sam Rockwell.
That is correct. I was like,
I thought that was Sam Rockwell.
Yes.
I was like, is that Sam Rockwell?
That is correct. I had no idea he was in the film until I finally see it again. I was like, wait. That's Sam Rockwell. And then there's the scene like he tells the police like where all the where the warehouse is, where they can find all the stuff. And then I was like, yeah, that's him. And then I went on.
Barely recognized him.
He's so young in the film.
Yeah.
But
that's really
everyone
funny.
has to get a start somewhere. It's so funny to watch. Have you seen the horror film Carrie?
I have not.
Oh, now I actually have a film that I want to introduce to you.
But I know that
if you've not seen that one.
What's his name? John Travolta is in that movie.
That he's definitely in that film. He's not a lead role, he's a kind of small supporting role, but it's really funny to see a young John Travolta in a small supporting role, knowing that he's by far going to be the most famous one in that film. So it's kind of funny to see these really known actors in the small role back in the past. Yeah. But in conclusion, I introduced you to a film that you like it because it's a good film, right? It's not you like it because it's stupid and silly, right? Or what would you say?
So I think it's good, but I think it's also silly.
It is silly, but you also think it's good at the same time. Or
It's not like I'm having like the movie is having fun, and I'm having fun with the movie. It's not like they were trying to do something and failing
Yeah.
miserably, and I'm laughing at them failing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm there. I'm with them. I'm
Yeah.
with them there. This is I'm having a lot of fun with this movie, and I would definitely think about like this is a perfect movie to well, now that I have watched it, it's a great
Mm-hmm.
movie to like I would put this in the same category as Big Trouble in Little China
Okay.
of movies that you watch at a party.
Okay.
You know, you have it on in the background,
Mm-hmm.
and then like when the scenes like and maybe you're like drinking or you're like chilling, and you're like kind of paying attention. But
Mm-hmm.
then when the good scenes come, you're like, yeah, it's that scene, and it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, and I don't mean that as like a slight against the movie. Like I think this is a really like a movie being fun is very refreshing because yeah, I don't remember when I watched a fun movie, a new movie that was really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty important. I think. I mean, there's a good reason why it became so popular. I mean,
I
obviously
can
known
definitely see why.
characters, but yeah. But yeah, see, I can definitely see why it caught on fire. But yeah, definitely better than the second one. You would agree with that, or
Yes.
yes?
Though I
And
still have,
yeah,
have it's just my nostalgia that I
you
have a
have still have
fond
some fun.
spot for
I
the
mean, it's not
second
terrible.
one.
I mean, it's not like this terrible
But
film, but
yeah,
it's
but
like
it's
nothing.
definitely
It's
more
nothing
like
like the first one in my mind, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then obviously the
But
third one is
it's
just like
like I
what the
can't
hell?
like
Yeah,
when. But what I'm saying
yeah,
is like I can't like when fucking Vanilla Ice is
yeah,
singing
yeah,
"Go
yeah,
Ninja, Go Ninja, Go." I can't help but
yeah,
smile
yeah.
like an idiot.
But I actually think that's the more famous one. But I actually
Mm.
like the original in the rap in the original film. It's I
Oh,
always
the
thought
one
that
in
was
the in
yeah at the
the
end
in
of the
the
film,
in
yeah,
the
at the
end.
end of the
Yeah.
credits. That actually I always thought that was a pretty good one. But yeah, I
Yeah,
have
I thought it was good,
yeah,
but then like I want to say like after me and Smarty
yeah,
finished watching the movie, we immediately went to YouTube and we watched the cartoon, the intro for the original cartoon,
yeah, yeah.
and we were just like, yeah, this is fun. We're having a good time.
I see. Um, there is obviously let's talk about the elephant in the room. These films were also remaked by Michael Bay.
Oh yeah,
Two of
I forgot
them,
about
and the third
those.
one was canceled or something. They're not going to make the third one.
I
Um,
saw I
yeah.
saw the first Michael Bay one. I don't remember
Wait,
why.
so you've seen the Michael Bay one?
I've seen the first Michael Bay one. I think I watched it at Joe's, and I think it's like
Okay,
that. Oh, by the way, me and Joe did watch Transformers 3.
three. I'm not seen
Be,
three. I've seen the second one, and I've seen the fourth one in China. Those are the worst films I've ever seen in my life.
well, you're
Yeah,
probably not because like we watched Transformers 3, and
yeah,
that's like stupid fun, but
yeah,
it's way too fucking long.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
So,
fourth one is just
yeah,
horrendous, too
and I
long,
was
and
just saying
just
like
too stupid.
well, it's like for I have an like as I've talked about before, I have an appetite for dumb garbage,
Yeah, okay.
but that appetite is limited.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see why. All right. So, but you saw and what is what was your memory of that Michael Bay film? Was it any good?
uh, I don't know. It's just it's just a Michael Bay film. It's like
Yeah.
it's way more focused on spectacle than on like character.
See, I
And
mean,
I mean, if you just watch it. Like I don't know, like turn down the audio, only watch the action scenes, and put some other
then put the
music.
soundtrack from the old film, or
Well, yes, it's something like that. Maybe then that's probably a better experience than watching the film the regular way.
see.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not serious.
Well-
I'm completely serious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I'll just skip that. I think
Yeah,
it's
you
like
don't need
with
to
Star
watch that
Wars.
movie.
For me, it's the old. Even only one of the films, New Hope, will work for me. And when it comes to the Turtles franchise, it's not maybe that
Yeah.
big, but when it comes to it, that first original film is pretty damn good. And Yeah, and I wouldn't be so shocked if my daughter would want to see it again someday soon. Like, there are some films that, catch her attention, and she will want to see them again. So maybe she will. maybe that film will be one of them. But I guess our streak is still on, still successful.
No,
you like
no
the film that I liked,
yet.
and yeah, I'm wondering when I'm gonna start. I think I might have to start picking films that are more debatable, I suppose. I mean, I've talked about Tenet. My viewpoint of it and the viewpoint of a lot of YouTube critics is just, it's so opposite. I do wonder where you would end up on that scale. And
Well,
then
you could,
then there's
find
the films that you dislike, and then I haven't thought of a film that I dislike that I want to introduce yet. But like you've talked about Batman versus Superman, maybe I would end up liking it. Who knows? But I doubt it.
I'm gonna
but
say
we'll
this:
find out.
because I like that movie as a bad movie.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's garbage. But if you would say like it's not that bad, I would lose some respect for you.
Well, we'll have to find out soon.
Yes, we would have to find out.
But I mean, we've already talked about it. We have several ideas for possible next episode.
There's too many movies.
Yes.
There's way too many movies.
Yeah, I talked to Gate, and he said the same. There's still so many films that I haven't seen yet, so it won't be a problem, I think. But yeah, it's good. It's great. I kind of knew. I thought this was a gimme. I kind of thought, you'll probably like this film, definitely. Yeah. And that's good. That's great. All right, shall we end it here then? Nothing. Is there anything else you want to say about the film, or do you think we've covered everything?
Said everything that I can say.
Splinter, great, really touching moments, great humor. Shredder, scary.
Scary.
Yeah.
Good villain, good heroes.
Yeah, really good characters. Yeah. So, anyways, I think we'll end it here. You've been listening to the What's This? What was it? It's just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Film from 1990, not the Michael Bay one, for crying out loud. Please don't watch that crap. And we both, like the film. And tune in next time for more episodes. What's This? For more different podcast episodes, and maybe some new stuff in the future. Who knows? Who knows what it will be? Anyways, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome as always, and hope we'll do this again soon. All right, you guys take care. Bye bye.
Bye everyone.
I have always liked Cowabunga. Huh? I made her funny.
On the half shell, they're the heroes for. In this day and age, who could ask for more? The crime wave is high, with muggings mysterious. All police and detectives are furious, cause they can't find the source of this lethally evil force. This is serious, so give me a quarter. I was a witness, get me a reporter. Call April O'Neil in on this case. Hey, you better hurry up, there's no time to waste. We need help like quick on the double. Have pity on the city, man, it's in trouble. We need heroes like the Lone Ranger. When Tonto came pronto, when there was danger. They didn't say we'd be there in half an hour, cause they displayed turtle power.